Hey everybody, and welcome back to the LittleWins podcast, season 3. Can you believe it? It's episode 8 of WTF, appropriately titled for Wow, That's Fantastic. And today I'm really excited, a little bit nervous. I always get nervous for this conversation. But we're gonna get through it together. For part 2 of a really important discussion that I started with a very dear friend of mine in season 2 on the topic of sex. So we get to have it with Elena Anadolis, who is a disability and mental health advocate and just a brilliant, beautiful human.
Here, I love doing the podcast with you, just so you know.
You do?
Twice. I love it. It's like,
you love it. I know. Yeah, you have done it twice. Well, you have a lot to add and a lot to bring to the table, and also it's pretty much the only time we ever get to talk to each other. So as
guys, you just had like an hour and a half conversation before this.
I know I'm the worst. But yeah, so we had a whole conversation, and welcome to the show again, Elena.
Oh, thank you. I love being here. It's home.
It's home. We started talking about sex, and when we first started talking about the topic, I think it was like in January, or maybe it was even last year, of how it's something that's not being widely discussed and how broad of a topic it is. So we decided to break it into questions that other people had, or just entry level topics. I encourage everyone to listen to the first episode if you haven't, if it's something that interests you, because there are a lot of gems in there. I think that would be helpful for everyone. Truly, it was helpful for me, to be honest.
It was cathartic.
It was cathartic. But we started talking about it because as a mom with 4 kids, and one with a disability, but also like we're all humans at the end of the day, I started to feel sort of like, okay, I used to be all sure of myself and think I'd be the mom that could absolutely handle the birds and the bees chat, and I can absolutely handle everything. Why not? I love to talk about it. But then you get to these moments and you're just like, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. And in the first episode, we cover how little I was given as a child and how shocked I was to hear what was going on, what sex actually was. Well, I don't want my kids to be that underprepared. And that's why we're here that's why we're all gathered here today. Did you have anything to add to that, or do you want me to kick it off with the questions? Kick it off. Okay, so we did get some questions from LittleWins users, and we've selected 5 of them to make sure that we don't go over time. But the first one is, what are the effects of inadequate sex education for young people with disabilities?
So what do they mean by, so my question to you is, what do they mean by inadequate?
Well, I could just lead by example with what I said in the first episode, like the first part of this, and when I had no idea what sex actually meant, and then my teacher told me that a penis enters a vagina, and I about fell out my chair. That seems a little inadequate. Like,
so
I said my back. Like,
so the inadequacies, I guess, I mean, if you're breaking it down generalization wise, are the same inadequacies that are in sex education right across the board, whether you have a disability or not. That's number one.
100%. Absolutely.
So now, do you really want to, I guess, I mean, in a way it's good and in a way it's not good, where you kind of isolate it and say then to me, that says you have to have a different sex education for someone with a disability.
Oh gosh, I don't think that's what they meant. I thought,
No, but that's how I would take it at face value.
yeah. No, and that makes sense. Absolutely. I don't think that, I hope no one would ever intentionally do that. I think that everyone has felt they had an inadequate sex education, and wondering if there's an additional inadequacy.
I
That,
mean, there's it's not an inadequacy. I think it's a mindset. Just telling, or I guess presenting to kids that kids with disabilities are asexual. Going back to that whole asexual thing.
yeah, that makes me cry. Yeah, just freeing up sex for all people and all
Yeah,
beings, and
exactly.
like sexuality.
In
I think
general.
freeing that for everyone in general, regardless of any other factors.
I don't think you can teach a disabled person sex education, like especially not someone who doesn't have a disability. I mean, what are you gonna do? Show them positions? You need a physical
I know.
therapist.
I was actually just thinking that. I was like, so what would be different? So positions, because
What
I'm
would be
thinking
different?
about like,
Positions are different.
but well, that's what I'm thinking about. Is it, I wonder if that's a differential, just to know that if, let's say, I have a hard time with my right side of my body, then, moving it myself, and then just understanding. I think we're just talking about compassion. I think we're just talking about generally caring for the other person, getting to know them, and then having.
Right, exactly. But what would be the difference? Is my question.
I know. Yeah,
That's what I don't understand.
I am just merely the best.
I mean, if you wanted, I feel like I'm not giving you enough for that question. But like, what is that even like? What does that mean? Are you talking? You could be. Are you talking? And it depends. What types of disabilities are you talking about? Are you talking about people with intellectual disabilities?
You're talking about
Or are you talking about people with physical disabilities? You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely, I do. I just read the question again. What are the effects of inadequate sex education for young people? If we stop it there, I could take it from there. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what the effects are.
exactly.
When you add with disabilities, I think that means with compassion to another person, understanding that you should, in any engagement, if anyone's asking me, the rules of engagement are that their comfort level, and you work together. It's like it's a
It's a
tango.
team effort. Team
Tango.
effort.
Yeah. So
It's a dance.
what would you say for you though were the effects of, did you feel actually that you had inadequate sex education?
In school or in my house?
I know they're two different things, because I know about your family and God. Hi, mom. Love it. Yeah, way to go, mom. Let's go with school. Because let's just say not everybody has a mom like yours.
In school,
Yeah.
I had the best sex ed teacher in high school. She was a midwife.
Ooh, that's
So high school, no. Um, Middle school was your typical video, penis goes into vagina, don't get STDs.
falls out chair. Yeah, just I'm dead.
So,
I
you
died.
know,
I died. Was anyone
but
else?
I died with the midwife too, because she taught her kids to grab a mirror and touch themselves. You know, like,
Yeah,
so
but yeah, we covered that. Everyone see back to the first part of this.
yeah, no, but like that's another falling out of my chair moment, because culturally you don't talk about
A part of your body.
yeah. Greek culture, you don't.
Oh, well,
Not in my house in general.
can we dispel that? Because I don't, that makes me sad. Everybody should, oh, that's sad. No, you gotta get to know your body. It's your body. You are the one that should know it before anybody else. without a doubt. I mean, in my humble opinion, without any doctorate of any kind, I just, yeah, I want people to, that makes me sad.
So the inadequacies for people with disabilities are the same inadequacies that a normal youngster has.
Yeah. Who do we call about that? We can't keep repeating that pattern or reprinting the concept that weird video.
It's
And our,
compassion.
did you see what we just said? The same exact things we're from
Passion.
two totally different sides of the nation in different environments, and we still had the same really gnarly sex ed class where you're like, I'm just gonna stop. I remember being like, I'm gonna stop you right there. just give me a minute.
But it's
Yeah.
the same. I mean, what do you want to do? You can bring in a physical therapist if you want and talk about positioning, but do you really want to do that? I don't even know when they have sex ed in schools anymore. At what age?
I don't know, but that's why we have to have this conversation. So important.
You really want to start, you really want to open up their minds and be like, hey,
yeah,
you're different. And I mean, if someone did that to me when I was in 6th grade or high school, I'd freak out because I'm still trying to figure out who I am. So you're going to come, a physical therapist who normally does exercises with me is going to come and be like, okay, when you have sex because of A, B, and C, this is what you have to do. How would that even?
well, that's got to come later in the game. And I again,
That's what I'm
I would
saying.
think, but I've always led by, and first of all, figuring out who you are is a long game. Like that's a journey.
Yeah, but I think that's when you start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think I've always started with my kids, and I could be wrong because they don't come with a handbook, but I have always followed their lead when it comes to these things. When they asked questions, I gave them real answers. I didn't come up with a silly nickname for private parts or whatever. It's medical terminology. That's your penis, that's your vagina, period. Like it's
Right.
all good. And talking about following their lead in their questions, but my kids are still like 9 and under, so we're on the brink, I feel like, of a more like a deeper curiosity. And it's interesting because where I felt so confident in how I've handled all these things, it felt natural, and that's what gave me the confidence.
Right.
I'm now at a place where it's like a holding pattern where I'm like, am I gonna do this right? Like what are they gonna ask me?
There's no right or wrong way. You
um,
just follow their lead. It's like just the whole idea of like that people think that it's so vastly different for us. It's not.
well, that is the last point I wanted to make, is that the reason you and I do this, right, Elena, that everyone should know. Not everybody wants to get up here and talk about sex and be this vulnerable and whatever, but it turns out there's just nothing else really on the topic, and we've always been about sharing information and creating community and camaraderie and connection. It takes a bold one to lead by your own life experience and to be that honest and that vulnerable. And it sounds a lot like sex, truly, or how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm always so grateful for these chats. You're gonna make me cry again. You always do. You always do. I really appreciate whenever we can squash these things of just, so guess what, guys? Turns out sex education is inadequate across the board. It's just all the way across the board.
There you go.
Yeah, for literally absolutely everyone. So we checked that off the list. But maybe they could circle back to it and start with a little slower, stroke it at a slower pace of just, let's like, instead of just slamming into the whole penis enters vagina thing and kids are falling out their chairs or they wish they could, just start at the beginning. this is your penis, this is a vagina, this is how reproduction works. Like, let's slow it down and go through, like, stick to medical terminology and functionality. And the baseline would be my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do?
Yeah, exactly. And then go into if you want to go pleasure and compassion,
Then
being
build on
together,
that.
and,
Then you
I
can.
think that's actually what's missing. Did they talk about that part? No. They just talked about penis, vagina.
I mean, it sounded awful too. Yeah, no, they didn't even go into any funsies. There was nothing.
Like, he's gonna be like, well, in order, like you have to have feelings for a person. You have to have compassion for the person that you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and treat it like an adventure. Get to know their body, make it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So bring a human perspective, feelings, emotions.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about, right?
absolutely. So to reiterate, we need to lay a stronger foundation on a medical, just so that it's not so bizarre or startling. Lay a strong foundation and build on top of that with all the many other amazing things that sex can mean for people, I think. Yeah. Did we just think we
All
just
people. Same thing.
we just figured it out.
Board of Education.
Wait, what's that?
Said Board of Education.
Yeah.
Consultant.
Dear Board of Education, yes, I do. They love hearing from me. They hear from me often. I have thoughts on, accessibility and whatnot. Anyways, I'll include it in the next one.
There you go.
Maybe just I won't be able to not now that we've talked about it. So here we are. Okay, this one's a long one. It's been widely claimed young people with disabilities have historically been excluded from dominant processes of socialization. I always struggle with the word. And learning that. Oh boy. Okay, we're going to take this one on.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Okay. Historically excluded from dominant processes of socialization and learning that would prepare people for love, sex, and reproduction. To what extent would you agree with this? And I don't know, why does it hit me so hard when we're basically just talking about it, but excluded, I think the word exclusion alone makes me want to throw this out the window, burn it down.
Yeah, but wait a minute. When were kids taught how to love?
Well,
isn't that a home? Like, isn't that an environmental, like your surroundings?
Well, I am not a professional on the topic, but I am also a mother, and I know what I lacked as a child, and I know what I give to my kids. I think you're the first person get home. Yes, love. This is love. I am caring for you. I want to hold you. I want to feed you, and yeah. But not everybody gets.
But does the exclusion, why disability though? I mean, that could happen in any home, in any school, any environment, to anyone.
In fact, it does. And I think
whether you have a disability or not, again, doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I'm honing the same thing. Like, these are statements that can apply to like anyone. Yes, we have been excluded from certain things because education, your intellect is always challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Which is bogus, baloney.
You don't get the proper accommodations.
Oh no, wait, see, back to my comment about how I know. Yes, I do know the school board. Or maybe they know me.
I mean, what else was it?
But here's the thing, and I don't want you to ever apologize to me. You're right to say that, and your point, I think, is beyond valid, and it's been made absolutely clear as it should be, that it's been widely claimed that specific to individuals with disabilities. So let's just go ahead and assume, because we already know, that in any given household, regardless of socioeconomic breakdown, whatever, whoever you are, there are many households where people are not being shown love and given the learning experience to prepare them for love, sex, and reproduction. But if we were just going to focus on individuals with disabilities, since that's what's been widely claimed here, to what extent would you agree with that?
I agree with it, because if you go back into history, they tried to sterilize people with disabilities during World War II.
Okay, I really try hard not to say the F word on this show. I actually put a little stick-it note always on my computer that says try not to say the F word, but F that. Every time, so that was the one thing I that sprung to mind when I read that. But
do you want to get political? The whole reversal of Roe versus Wade.
Oh yes, I would really like to flip a table and all the cars. Got a lot to
That's
say about that.
But there you go. That's a perfect example.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Especially when it comes to women and disability.
And that's why I want you to talk about it, because I can talk about a woman who has disabilities and no one knows because they're not visible, but we talk about it on every podcast. Do you feel like anything is fair ever? No. Nope. No. And this isn't like a feminist thing, guys. This isn't, it's just the truth. And
especially when you're a female with a disability. No. Not fair.
I don't know exactly what that's like, but I know what it's like for me. And I know that I work 10 times harder than most people I talk to who are men. And I don't get emotional about it, because at a certain point, you just have to accept this as fact.
You just get numb.
You accept it as fact, because fighting against that will take away energy from what you're actually trying to do. So what you're going to do is say, fine, I know this is going to be harder. I'm going to work harder on that, just to funnel the rest of that energy towards my purpose, my goal, or whatever I want to do. It's a choice they make. Is it fair? Nobody said it was fair. Is it easy?
I'm not, no, it's not. And honestly, I wouldn't change it, because I wouldn't be who I am today. Exactly. I mean, do I have my moments of where I scream and cry and my insecurities and this and that, whatever? Yeah, I do, but I wouldn't change it. But it's not fair. It's
not fair. And you can scream and cry. I like to eat salt and vinegar chips sometimes, like late at night. I'll cry about it later with my salt and vinegar chippies. Like, you know, whatever. In the grand scheme of things, we can't change the entire infrastructure of the world. Can we talk about what's going on and call it out as it is? We have to. But it's not about
yes, people with disabilities are excluded from all these things because of societal perspectives and viewpoints on disabilities.
How do we break that?
And how you, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? And how much value you give to that person, or lack thereof.
Ew, gross.
But it's true.
It's true. I feel you. I mean, I have a skewed perspective on that, because I've always been a person who completely inherently understood everyone is different and was grateful for that. Like, inherently was grateful that everybody has differences, because God, I swear it's like a nightmare of mine if we were all the same.
Right. Everyone has
Total
differences.
hell.
You want
Total
to know
hell.
what there's a label, there's a label, there are labels on my differences so that it will allow me to get things that are supposed to make my life a little easier. That's the only reason why you have the words disability, mental health, you know, that's the only reason why you have diagnoses, is so that they can identify, they have something to identify with, and you can, if you're lucky enough, you can get what you need in order to live quality of life, in order to have some form of quality of life. But
Yep.
it's really not like it's only a disability because someone came up with a word. It could have been called a monkey. You understand? Like, you understand?
I totally understand what you're talking about, because the word
Am
disability,
I
the
making
word
sense?
vagina.
Like, I don't
No,
even
you're
know.
making sense. No, you just reminded me of like a stand-up comic I heard a long time ago, years ago, where he was like, who came up with the word vagina? That because it sounds like a sickness. Like I feel like I could call in sick to work with like, hey boss, like I have vagina today. And I remember laughing so hard. Like some words just are so much more daunting. And disability is not only is one with a lot of syllables, which can, we can shy away from, I think often, but also has grown like into a monster that it doesn't need to be. So when you're talking about, I have things that I need to make my life easier. Well, yeah, everybody does. Literally everyone does.
Right, exactly. And I'm
And
not saying, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that disability is a bad word, but it's a word.
but it's gotten to be, yeah, see how you changed your tone, but it's a word. Now
It's a
it
word.
slaps. Yeah, it's got a little bit of,
It's rhetoric.
yeah.
And for
Well,
whatever reason, people are afraid of it. But it's a word that allows you to get what you need. That's all it is.
and you must get what you need.
If you're lucky enough, like I said, I'm repeating myself because a lot of people don't. It's like with my ADHD, right? We're talking about sex, but it's like with my I'll bring it to a sex topic. It's like with my IUD, right? So I have an IUD. This might be a little too much information, but it's
No, I
medical.
had one. It was really uncomfortable. I could feel it when I was running and it sucked. So I had that taken.
Okay. So this is for medical purposes. I have an IUD because I have something called Leiden factor 5 mutation. Now that's a big long ass diagnosis.
Yeah, can I write it down? Because somebody else out there listening, like maybe I need to include detail. Can we break it out into
Leiden, LIEDEN,
Yep.
factor 5.
Factor 5? Got it. Thank you.
Okay. You know what it is? It's a blood clotting disorder.
Thumbs down on that. We don't know that.
No, but it's a blood clotting. It's a blood clotting disorder that affects people from Eastern European countries, right? So, like, let's say we're talking about you and me going to Dubai, right? Long flight. I would take, which I'm totally coming.
Yeah.
But you have to help me pick out clothes.
And we'll both be there side by side in our compression socks with our feet elevated. Yeah, for sure. I am playing no games with a blood clot, honey. You don't know my history.
So that means because I have Leiden factor 5, that means when I go on an airplane for more than 6 hours, I have to take an anticoagulant. That also means that I cannot be on oral birth control because it increases my chances of getting blood clots. Okay. But I have to be on something because we're going to say because of my cerebral palsy. This is what they say. Yeah. My cycles cause severe cramps and other bodily things not to be able to function, and I can't move.
Well, what's my excuse then? Because of my cramps, I swear to God, I could pass out. It's gnarly.
But again, Leiden factor 5 mutation, it's a label that you need to have in order
to get the care you need.
For a doctor to say, hey, she can't be on birth control anymore, but she needs something to lessen the effects of her cycle in order to be able to function. So, in order for insurance to cover the IUD, they have to put vitamin factor 5.
I gotcha, loud and clear. And I think everybody should have heard that, hopefully, because I got Ava's diagnosis for my daughter Ava, for cerebral palsy early. It was clear that, I mean, after a skull fracture and the delivery process, that she would have cerebral palsy, but they weren't going to give me a diagnosis until she was 2, because like who comes up with these ages and these times? Going back to how all people are different, we're all like snowflakes and we have these commonalities, but then there's still these rules and of how, when we time out, when to say this is the diagnosis so that you can get the care. And I was like, hell no. If you are telling me this is what you think is going to happen, I need this diagnosis in order to get her the care that she needs. And waiting, when you and any other doctor who's, you know, a specialist in early years would tell you, in the growth process that could happen between 0 and 2, like, guys, we cannot be eliminating care from that age. They grow like weeds. It changes every day. And it's such an important time, this diagnosis thing. Anyways, I really love, sorry for the tangent, but thanks for listening. I just, we really need to shake that up. The disabilities term, the labels. If I've met many people where I think they need to put anyone they meet, they need to put them in a bucket. Like, you are Karen, you are Debbie, you are, like, you know, just, you fit in a bucket. It makes sense to them.
Right.
I'm not shaming you, do you? But to me, I think that's a missed opportunity for a lot of beauty and growth and progress if we don't,
and getting to know each other.
Yeah. And if we don't shatter that stigma around the word disability and just say, fuck it. Yeah, she said it. The word is this. But it doesn't mean anything other than another person just like you. And I have this conversation all the time, and it breaks my heart. Sometimes I feel like I'm rattling cages, and sometimes I feel like I silently cry, and I'm sure that I'm not even remotely scratching the surface to what other people feel. But at some point, we are going to have to move past that, because we're better than that. We know.
Are we though?
God, I want to believe we are. I think we are. I think that there is a large group of people. Oh yeah. I mean, yes, I want to believe that, but I think there are a lot of people who get that, but they're afraid to reach out, because of the flip side of that, from my experience, is that, because remember, they threw me in a special education classroom in college for that 1 year I got to go. It was such a weird year for a numeric dyslexia, with severely impacted individuals in the basement of my college. And I am so glad I got to go there to see what was actually going on. And I didn't know at the time that information would be important. It felt at the time just like, how do I get everybody out of here to like sunlight and air? Like, we gotta move around. This isn't fine. Okay. People are people are people are people. Period.
Yep.
And sex education is definitely lacking for all people. And That's why you're talking about your experiences. And I'm telling you, this factor 5 situation, somebody out there needed to hear it. If you don't tell them, nobody else is really talking about it.
I didn't know about it until my father had surgery and passed out on the floor.
Mm.
And we went to 2 hematologists. So there you go.
So far, so good, though. She's like,
Yeah.
and that was just a Tuesday. That was only Tuesday.
Fine. Everything's fine.
Life, man, I'm telling you. But we do always.
I'm sorry, I just brought that up because it was a gynecological thing and we're talking about sex, so I figured.
Oh, what? Okay, stop apologizing to me. Never apologize. We speak freely here. And I do think that it's extremely important because I didn't know about that, and I would like to, because if I encounter a person who says that they suffer the same, I would like to know something about it so I can relate to them and I can connect with them. That is part of this journey for me, is just being able to connect, you know. So I always appreciate when you do that. I need to know of these, because you are aware of the questions. Is there any one that you liked? I feel like, I feel like there's
not particularly.
Okay, then can we just not go off of these questions? Because I'm pretty sure you already answered them.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like this is important, though. This quote, Anne Fingers said in an essay that sexuality is often the source of our deepest oppression. It is often the source of our deepest pain. It's easier for us to talk about and formulate strategies for changing, discriminating in employment, education, and housing than to talk about our exclusion from sexuality and reproduction. And I would really like to know your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, because sex is, at least for me, it's something physical, but it's something emotional. And reproduction, you're creating life.
But I think, yeah, absolutely. But I think she's also saying that people would rather talk about like housing than talk about their sexual preference.
Because
Or like,
you don't talk about it.
can we talk about it? Let's make t-shirts. I want to talk about it. Listen, guys, I don't want to go.
Let's talk about sex. Little wins.
Let's talk about sex. I don't want to go to, like, if I encounter you at Starbucks, don't ask me how I'm doing. Tell me if you like got a new vibrator or what you're, just tell me something fun. We don't need to talk about your employment or your educational status all the time. I'd like to know, where's the weirdest place you ever had sex? Tell me that. Or most like wild, or most surprising, maybe. But
does it have to be a place? Can it be a scenario?
Yes, but that's what I'm honestly saying that to everyone. Can we just shake up this mold a little bit?
I can't say it. My mom might listen to the podcast.
Oh, you can't say it? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine does too. Yeah.
No, I can't. She'll be like, Elena, what?
Should I say mine though? Because I'm not scared.
If you want.
An airplane.
Airplane, my high club.
Got a thing for airplanes. What can I say? I think that it's easier to talk about things that are so structured, right? There's only so far you can go emotionally in a conversation regarding
So sex is not structured. Sex is emotional. People don't like to talk about emotion.
So that's my takeaway from the Anne Finger quote of like, people would rather talk about generally these things as a structured conversation. There are safe zones, there are safe words. It's wrapped in safe words. You can only go so far. Your education goes to so many years. It's capped at that. So that's the end of that conversation. Your housing, there's only so many different ways that could spider off into a conversation. But sex, God, what if we got to know each other? Because that actually
That's
was
scary.
so much about someone, and
That's
it's
scary.
scary to everyone. Then I think a big thing that you and I both, well, we agree on everything, but the biggest thing when we chatted right before this is that we both believe that everybody wants to talk about this. And truly, we're just putting ourselves out there saying, "Hey guys, we want to hear you too." And I don't want to hear about your goddamn housing bullshit, and don't talk to me about your employment situation unless you just like really love it so much and you are proud of it. Then I want to hear it. Absolutely I do. But I want to get to know you if we ever cross
What makes you tick?
paths.
What makes you feel good?
Yeah. And you don't have to talk about sex, but I think that they all boil down to the same thing is your you. What makes you you? And that is intimacy.
People are afraid of intimacy, especially today.
Well, that's gross. Should we just send in the large meteor then? We just everything. Send in the large meteor. Like I don't want to believe that. I can't do what I do if I believe for even a second that the majority of people are incapable of being vulnerable,
They're
wanting
not
to learn.
incapable. They don't want it. They want when ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Well, they're missing out then.
Yeah. But I mean that's what it is. They want situationships. They want instant gratification.
Ew, gross. I
So
mean,
so if it's not easy and they don't have to have a conversation or figure out how to do something differently or whatever, then
how to get you going, how to get you off, how to like, they don't want to venture into, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're doing it wrong, guys. It's just,
no, I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know, like it doesn't happen.
that's deeply depressing.
Sad.
Yeah, I wish I had more to play off of, like from personal. I don't know because I mean, first of all, I never go anywhere ever. I mean, I just do this. So I don't have, I'm reaching now. So for your perspective though, because we were talking about TikTok before and like social media in general as a whole, there's all these algorithms from my vantage point that kind of, I feel like they jade my perspective or try to, but I know better. So I'm always like, I see you, of all the way down to like who you can view in your
Right.
feed.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm only on this thingy so that I could see that friend's baby because I don't get to see them all the time. So the fact that you filter them out makes me cranky. But then came all these different waves of like ads where I literally said to an ad on my phone, come and get me. Like you obviously know exactly who I am. Come on, daddy. Come on over. Like how'd you win that so well? You pinned it. Um for TikTok, I don't know anything about TikTok, but I'm trying to give you a picture of what I have in my feed of social media. It's odd how it's skewed towards, I feel like whatever robot they think I am. Um, although they got that ad right. Some of it is just so weird. Do you feel Well, because you're younger than I am. Is
Not
there
that
like a
much.
lot of dating, trolling around on social media? And then do you feel it's different for an individual with disabilities, or like where are
Well,
the
first of all, TikTok is now a dating website and creepers website. It's disgusting. Um, it's just disgusting.
I can't
What was the
remember my
question?
password. That's why I can't remember my password. I'm still not back on it. But I'm just wondering of those. So we read the questions, we went through all of those thoughts, and I'm giving you an example of how I think as social as people ever are on in a linear thought process of how we're not connecting anymore.
You're not.
We do it
It's
on
bad.
social media, but I feel like then through social media, my life is filtered through whatever algorithm that puts me into. So I
They're
get,
putting you.
I
They're
only
first of all, they're putting you in a box based on watch time on certain videos.
exactly where I was going with this.
So
Remember, I said you're thrown in the categories. Yeah, you're in a
you're in a
category.
category. It's your attention span on particular topics. So there you go. An algorithm puts you in categories.
Okay, can we all just take a minute and realize that there is no category for each and every single person. There's a baseline, like we said, the foundation, the strong foundation, going back to the sex talk of like, just here are the actual things that are involved, and like the baseline information. Everything after that, it's beautiful out there if you really look, that every single thing is different and no two things are alike. And you'll only ever get this moment once, and that's what infuriates me. I know I get on my soapbox when I talk about this, but like, you're missing it if
There's so much beauty in difference.
it is what's beautiful.
That's what it is. And it's taken me a long time to realize that.
Yeah, because the world told you not to. And that's
Because when like I said, I've said it before, when I looked at myself in the mirror, the person that I was looking at was not the person that I was inside.
Hmm. do you
But
do you think everybody feels that way a little bit?
yeah, that's the whole point. Everyone, that's where we can connect.
God, please, can we?
Emotions, feelings. Everyone feels like they look fat when they look in the mirror, or their left boob is lopsided. I don't know.
The left boob is always like, what's with that? What's with that whole thing?
Like, what do you want me to say? Like, really? Like, my nose could be smaller. Like,
Yeah,
you
blah blah
know,
blah. We all will pick each other apart, but ourselves first.
I
I
picked myself apart. Are you kidding? No, I do it.
you
Everyone does it.
yeah, I mean, you're right. I do. Yeah, I definitely do. I look tired today, and then I look in the mirror and I'm like,
I know you do.
but I'm
I
like,
mean,
I've been up all night with kids for 30 days in a row for
yeah,
a
but why do you?
multitude of
Let
reasons.
me ask you a question. I want to ask you a question though.
But like,
Before
let me
you
finish
have
though.
to. Okay, go ahead.
I look at myself and I say, because you earned it. This
But why do you have
tiredness,
but
I
why do
earned
you have to
it.
validate yourself? But why do you have to validate it? Why do you even have to explain to yourself?
Oh, that's a different thing. I feel like we just do this. It's like an observational study. You just like look at the face. And I feel like no one ever talks about this, but maybe I'm the only one that does it. It's more of just like, if you like plant a seed and you watch it grow, it's like watching your face change every day. Your hair grows, like you notice subtle differences. People
Well,
are,
I do. I'm using retinol now. And I'm like 38. Like, it's ridiculous.
but that's why I look in the mirror to be like, it's like, yeah, okay. My hair's a little bit longer. Maybe it's time for a haircut. And also they plant mirrors in front of sinks when you're brushing your teeth. Like there's nothing, like there's no escaping it. I am not afraid of that, but I think am just so grateful now that I'm almost 40 to be alive. I'm way easier on myself than I used to be in just in gratitude. I'm way more solid in just, yeah, this is who I am. And if I can't do that, I'm the first one to say I can't, because I want to lead by example. I want to say, hey guys, it's all right to feel maybe like you don't know how to do something, or maybe you don't know how to express yourself, but God, please try. And I will be here to listen. It's got to stop. We have to be at the ceiling of, we've already established that your sex education and all of that has not been different of an experience than mine. But what is remaining the same from God knows when is the lack of feeling free to be whoever you are.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. And I will do everything in my power. The only thing I can think of is by having conversations with incredible individuals like you. God, I love you so much. About just intimate conversations about us. Let's lead by example. What do you guys want to know? We're dying for your questions. Ask us questions. We are dying. You will be unnamed. We're not like that. We are an anonymous, like we're not trying to put anybody, but please talk to us if there are questions about sex or sexuality, or God, I don't know, questions about what else would you anything. We are here to talk about it and free it, I think, is really how it turned out to be. Who knew?
Disability and sex, not bad.
No. Is there anything like, for, let's say, me, with my 4 kids, my 3 daughters, with my Ava.
She's not there yet. Don't.
But I just feel like I need to
there
prepare. Is there anything? No, she's not. Oh God, no, she's not. Don't even say that to me. I just no. Hi. No, thank you. Rewind. I'm asking girl to girl, is there anything that I could do now to, like we said, about learning about, medical terminology and the birds and the bees, like to lay the foundation for her, because I want her to enjoy her life the way that she chooses to its fullest. And I will do anything in my power to make sure that that happens.
Just, I guess, in terms of intimacy and whatnot, not now, but love her the way that you do. And when that conversation comes up, you have it and you say you're gonna have a moment where it's gonna be with someone who's gonna understand who you are as a person, and it's gonna be a connection. If you don't feel comfortable with it, that's okay, but you have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. It's about communication. And if you want to do it, do it. If you don't. But it's human nature. And it feels good sometimes. It should feel good.
That's the point. Yeah.
If it doesn't, then
kill it.
That's when you know.
That's
when you know there's something wrong.
Something's wrong, yeah. But I don't ever want anyone to get to that point, because you and I have already talked about this. We've had experiences like that. No, thank you. I'd like to never have that happen to anyone ever again. But
no, but I'm just saying
it turns out our scripts are aligned. I have the same. That's the conversation I would have. Again, we're circling back to the beginning, where what you just said as your recommendation for a conversation with Ava is the same thing I have in my head on just, my drafts. just back there if we ever need to talk about it. For every single one of my children, all who are extremely different people, in the most beautiful way. But yeah, so nothing, I think what I was asking was like, is there anything that you would want to say to maybe another girl who was listening? Remember, our listeners are 17 to 74. So another woman who has cerebral palsy or feels alone, feels like she can't talk about, is there anything that you would pass on?
It's not bad to get to know yourself and your body. You need to do that before you go and do anything else. And never do anything you don't want to do. Just to fit in.
Oh God, no, please don't. No. Should we create a line for that and just like a bat signal? No, absolutely not. Don't do that. Do for sure get to know your body. You'll love it. Get that mirror, check it out. Look at what you have going on. Get to know what you like so you know how to
and don't be afraid to tell your partner.
Oh no, please don't.
Guess what? This is what I like, but this is what I have to do a little differently because this is how my body works. Everyone's body works differently, right?
Oh, so
it's
just do it again. Say that again. The way that you said it, that's sexy. Yeah, that is sexy, you guys. When you can talk to, oh God, yes, please. When you
but everyone's bodies is
yes.
Different. Mine just, you know what it is? Okay, so mine might be a little more obvious. Big deal.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it is something.
That's what it is. It's the difference is obvious, but everyone's body works and responds to things differently.
Yeah. And that's the journey. That's the adventure, and the fun of it really is trying to figure out cracking the code, like what's the thing that makes you tick? That's sexuality. Right. That's sexual. Yeah. Right. But you cannot do it by yourself. You must have that communication no matter who you are. I think we've established that
if you're doing it with someone, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even so, let's say there's a particular position that I have to do because I have CP and one leg is shorter than the other, which, by the way, not the case. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, right? Oh. And I'm having a girls' walk with Lex now. And I say, hey, guess what? I tried this. And she just, because she is who she is, she goes and she tries it and she's like, oh my God, that really works. Look, she just learned something from someone who has CP.
Yeah, do
you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, absolutely. These walls got to come down. I want to hear all your tricks and trades of this. You better share.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes. Why aren't we talking to each other about it? Well, you and I do. And then
I'm just saying, like just because it's not exclusive to disability.
No, it's not. And this is
it might make things easier for certain people, but it's not.
Okay, none of it's easy. I don't know if you've ever been like seated in those positions and you're like, I'm really tired. This is fun, but I gotta go.
Like, I need to sleep.
I need to sleep. No, go away.
I fall asleep.
Okay, everyone knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, this has been really fun. Go away.
Don't touch me, please.
Don't touch me. We're done. Yeah, it's athletic behavior.
It's over. Done. I burned my 12 calories. Done.
Yeah. And I got a smile on my face and night. But I am so grateful that I do have a girlfriend that I can talk to. I don't give a shit about whatever you say your ability is or whatever, that anyone would would go through this whole process of really coming to the conclusion of simply just, we're all living the same experience. We're all feeling the same things. Look at how we're like sleuthing. We're like little Inspector Gadgets trying to find differentials and trying to, but really the walls and the things that are blocking us are just so dumb that they're as simple as we are all people. So just kaboom, all of these walls that put you in the buckets. You needed the buckets for, and I needed my buckets too, for the things that we need.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you're any different or I'm any different. And the sex part, well, that's just an adventure. Choose your adventure. And everybody wants that. It's human nature. Oh, and I think it's really important what you said about if you don't want to. That's a fear of mine in many of the, like when I help out in different places. If they can't move, we gotta.
Now you're gonna get me to cry.
I am not gonna make you cry, but it is something that I want to talk about and I want to ideate on, because no, I won't be able to sleep at night if I think that that's something that is going to continue going on. So I will figure out a really sick watch or some contraption
that someone can,
yeah, like a sexy watch too, like not like an app.
regardless of what their abilities are.
Yeah, because we can't have that, guys.
No. And it's very prevalent within the disability community.
And that is what we need to be talking about.
I think we just found our next topic for part 3.
Part 3. Okay, I'll have to start designing the watch. Okay, nobody steal the idea. I'm gonna send an email to Elena right after this. So I've already coined the thought. But no, I actually do have a whole design for it, because it's something that once you hear, well, if you're a person like me, you hear one story and it changes the course of your whole life. Like, I can no longer unsee or unhear this, and it will be something that I think about every single day until I do something about it. And I think I have a really good idea.
Okay, well,
yeah,
no, we're not sharing.
No, but I'm for the girls. I'm for the people. I'm for love. I'm for freedom of feeling. God, free your feelings, folks.
Like,
Maybe
feel.
Wait, do you remember that one? I think it was with Brandon Croucher. Do we clap 3 times to free your feelings? Woo! Free it up, folks.
It's okay to feel.
It's okay to feel, and it's okay to talk about it. And I think that everybody would feel better if they did.
Mm-hmm.
I'd venture to say, from my unprofessional experience. Elena, I love you.
I love you more.
I think that you're right. Let's do, okay, that's going to be a heavy one. That's going to be heavy. We're going to have to bring in a third person too, because we'll both be like sobbing. That's a heavy topic for part 3. What if I'm crying and in shambles, you ask me a question and I can answer?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you bring in someone with a disability? Is it another female? Is it a male?
I feel like a male would be awesome, don't you? Like,
with a disability or without?
I don't care.
No, but I'm just saying, can they relate?
What kind of disability? Like physical, mental, like
I don't know.
any disability? I think everyone has a disability. So
Yeah, exactly. That's
you're
what I was
asking
gonna
the wrong girl.
say.
That's why I'm like, what are
I
you
think,
saying
look,
to the
look,
man? Yeah.
I think everyone has something, and I think just certain things like diagnoses aren't talked about from that perspective. So
Okay. Sorry. I'm just over there in just, I think everyone has a disability mode. And
yes,
I forget
they
that
do.
not everyone thinks that way.
Sorry, guys.
No, male. I think
Hates pop your cherry, but everyone has a disability.
everybody, and they know, get out of there. Like those little, you got a little shoe situation. You don't like the way their socks fit. You don't like the way your sleeves hit. You don't like loud noises. You don't like, everybody's got something. Okay.
You
My-
just don't call it a disability. But if you
my-
did, maybe your life would be a little easier.
Myself included. That's my alarm to call my children because they are not home tonight. Everybody's got something. I've already spoken about my own thingies many times. I have no shame in that. I think the only shame is in trying to mask and feel like you have to pretend that you don't have something when really what makes you fascinating and brilliantly beautiful to the world is oftentimes that same differential from my experience. If you let that freak flag fly.
There you go. Some of us have no choice, others do.
Even if you had a choice, would you choose?
I don't know. Because I don't know if I'd be a different person.
If you were a different person, I would come over there and I would pick you up and I would get really cranky.
But think about it. If I didn't have my cerebral palsy, who would I be?
God, I don't like to, like, I don't know.
See?
Yeah.
I don't like to talk about it in terms of identity, but if I didn't have it, who would I be?
No, it's because of your life experience. It's the same thing that made me who I am. The shit that you went through makes you who you are. No, I understand what you mean.
I still have that compassion.
God, I hope so. I don't want to, okay, on this, because I love you so much, I'm just going to choose like rainbows and unicorns. I'm going to go to that bucket to bring it back in my brain. I'm going to go over there to like wishes and dreams and, hope floats. So because I can't think about that. It's been such an honor to be able to talk with you. I don't know how I could have had some of these conversations on a level that they needed to be had, and we've only scratched the surface with anyone but you.
I don't think I've had these conversations with anyone but you, so it goes both ways. Not even my mama, and I talk a lot with my mom about a lot of different things. So
I hope my kids talk to me like that.
thank you for being you. And you came into my life for a reason.
I think we collided.
No, you initiated, but sure.
We came into each other's lives. I need you. And I think they need to hear this, or anybody, even my mode of operatum has always been just one. If one person needs to hear this.
I've always said if I can change one person's life,
that's it.
Then I've done my job.
That's what absolutely. So, but we also get to talk to each other.
This is how we get to talk to each other, people, through podcast episodes.
No, we're gonna get better at it. I got some help with my kids, so I'm gonna have more time.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know.
We're
Catching up when Lex has like an actual, real, like personal life, and sometime in 15 to 27 years.
We'll do a podcast from her office.
Oh my God, get me out of here. I love you, Elena. I'm
talk to you
grateful
soon.
for you. And hey, you go, girl. Everything you do is magic.
I
And
try.
and you do it with a smile and the kindness and the compassion, even when people lack it to you. And that to me is a strength and a beauty that does not always coexist in one person. So hell yeah, sister.
Well, thank you for recognizing it.
Forever and always. I love you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Until the next one.
Part 3, guys.
Part 3. Stay tuned with a male. Call if you're a male.